Good morning, this is Meteor Crater, Arizona, where about 50,000 years ago, 500 tons of nickel iron smashed into the Arizona high plateau here, dug down into the bedrock and blew this big hole up. Luckily that meteor wasn't carrying any alien viruses or ghosts, unlike in the anime I'm going to discuss today.
Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within.
A few months back I talked about several of the very early CGI anime from the turn of the century. In 2001, all those were blown away by the major theatrical sci-fi movie Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within, which set a new standard for CGI animation. You may not choose to consider this anime, and not just because it was rendered by 3D models and computers. It's a U.S. production by Square USA, and it was designed for an English voice cast. However, it was directed by game designer Hironobu Yakaguchi, who also wrote the story, and it's a milestone of computer animation. It's 2065. 30 years earlier, a meteor hit the Earth and unleashed a plague of aliens. Called the Phantoms, those aliens are invisible and insubstantial. They pass right through walls, which makes them hard to keep out, or to see them coming, or to hurt them. If they make contact with any living creature, they rip the soul right out of its body, leaving a perfect corpse. Someone figured out how to see them, developed an ectoplasmic laser that could actually hurt them, and developed a barrier that could keep them out. Now mankind lives inside a few small barrier cities, while the Phantoms roam over Earth's lifeless surface, and mankind plots how to take its planet back. Aki is a brave, dedicated scientist on a quest. She makes dangerous excursions outside the barrier, collecting compatible spirits, whatever they are, from surviving life. When she gets a set of 8, she thinks she'll be able to create a bioetherical energy wave, whatever that is, that will eliminate the Phantoms. That assumes she can avoid the Phantoms long enough to finish her collection. Luckily for her, Captain Gray Edwards and his crack squad of Phantom-slaying commandos is around to bail her out of a jam, whether she wants their help or not. It seems the captain has some sort of personal history with Aki, too. This handful of soldiers will become her companions for most of the movie.
Could you hurry, please, miss?
Done, Captain.
Yes, Neil.
Just so you know, I agree with the let's get out of here.
Can I have this, please? Thank you.
Hey, here they come.
Meanwhile, the military has developed a giant version of that ectoplasmic laser weapon on an orbital space platform. Their commander-in-chief, General Hein, wants to fire the thing right into the heart of the aliens' nest in the meteor crater where they landed. The plan, of course, is to kill the Phantoms and take back the planet. Dr. Sid, a respected scientist and Aki's mentor, thinks that firing the weapon is a bad idea. He thinks it will only drive the Phantoms deeper into the Earth, where they'll do even more damage. Given what the planet looks like, it's hard to imagine anything getting worse, but Dr. Sid has this theory. He thinks the whole Earth is one giant spirit called Gaia. All living things, from plants to humans, share in this spirit. If the Phantoms get down to Gaia, that would be bad. He's counting on Aki collecting the 8 spirits to drive away the Phantoms with Gaia's own power. General Hein and Dr. Sid are debating strategy at the council because who better to resolve a scientific dispute than a bunch of politicians? I kind of agree with the general, shoot the gun. But this is a touchy-feely movie, and it's about spirits and life force in Gaia. What's a compatible spirit anyway, and why is it in this particular plant but not in that bird? How many are there left on the Earth? And why is 8 Aki's magic number? Aki's the star, so you might surmise that Dr. Sid's Gaia theory will turn out to be right. Aki is so committed to this theory that she's collecting the spirits within her own body, using them to keep a Phantom infection at bay. She's literally betting her own life on it. She better finish her work before the general pulls the trigger on that big gun, though. In terms of art and animation, this movie is amazing. This was the first film to attempt to generate film-realistic people. Its computer-generated characters have far more detail than any of its predecessors. The skin has a natural look even in the close-ups, with blemishes, pores, dirt and all. The men's chins sometimes sport a realistic 5 o'clock shadow. The clothing actually shows different kinds of fabric texture, so you can surmise Aki's wearing a wool uniform while Hein is wearing a slick leather coat, and you can even see Gray's muscles ripple under his cotton shirt. All those clothes show very natural-looking wrinkles, too, but I did notice that everyone wears rather tight-fitting clothes. I suspect they didn't want to have to mess with motion of loose clothing. They had enough problems with Aki's hair. The human animation has provided more extensive motion capture, and they tried to get more natural than any previous anime. The realism is enhanced by animated dust when they make footballs. Faces have independent feature movement that provide a wide range of natural expressions and some surprisingly subtle. Characters blink, swallow, and breathe, and show small smiles and frowns. In one scene, you can actually see Aki's chin quiver as she comes close to tears. The faces were animated manually, however, with software that precisely matched the mouth movements to the English dialogue.
Can we afford to wait for some crazy invention, some army of touchy-feely plants and animals? An invention that offers no solid evidence that it will destroy the alien.
There is evidence.
Where is the proof?
Here.
Only the phantoms leave something to be desired. When these insubstantial monsters are revealed, they show as partially transparent, luminous creatures, so you can see some of their innards as well as their surface. The glowing outlines reminded me of the CGI aliens from the film The Abyss, but their designs are too unearthly. At one point, the commentary track assured me that the monster they were fighting now was the same as the monster they'd fought earlier. We were supposed to recognize that how? It's just a bunch of Frankenstein parts. The mechanical designs are well done, with spaceships, orbital stations, and barrier cities nicely designed. Of course, the mechanics are a natural strength of computer animation. In other CGI anime of the same period as Final Fantasy, they use tricks to cover up some of the defects in their animation technique. Alice used deep, dark interiors and exterior snowstorms so that it didn't have to do backgrounds, and Blue Remains used the natural light diffusion of its underwater setting to avoid backgrounds, and both concentrated on head and shoulder shots or put characters on vehicles to avoid exposing unnatural full-body motion. The Spirits Within doesn't need these tricks. It features brightly lit interior sets, such as a science lab, and some huge sets, such as a city hangar deck, where the story puts an extended action scene. In some shots, they've used traditional 2D matte paintings for backgrounds with 3D foregrounds to save time and get exactly the look they wanted. And they don't shy away from full body motion. Using animation here also allows them to do imaginative scene composition and interesting transitions. For example, a spaceship morphs into a bullet floating in 0G and gives us an interesting overhead shot of one of the characters loading a gun. Historically, Final Fantasy is from about the time Pixar made their second Toy Story movie. Like many Hollywood live-action movies, it even used Pixar's RenderMan software. But Pixar never animated a drama or tried to film realistic human characters. It's reportedly cost $130 million to animate Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within, considerably more than Pixar spends on a movie. Final Fantasy shows it in impressive visuals. Unfortunately, it's the more traditional problems of plot and character that let the story down. I already mentioned the pseudo-religious soft plot line that allows for an anything-goes kind of climax. The story spends too much time explaining some things and leaves a lot of other points to our confusion. Considering how much time is spent on exposition, I wanted to understand the whole story. The pacing draws out several scenes too long. We have to disarm a traitor in the shuttle not once, but twice. Aki and Gray crash their vehicle near the end of the movie, not once, but twice. The characters also let us down a little, though it's not a problem with the voice acting, which was provided by such all-star cast as Ming Na, Donald Sutherland, and James Wood, among others. The problem is the writing. Aki is a calm and intelligent and resourceful, self-assured, brave woman, dedicated to her work. It should be refreshing to have a heroine who defies stereotypes like that, but she doesn't seem to engage our emotions. She's too calm and cerebral to be the kind of action hero of a monster shoot. So, the hero role falls to the gun-toting Gray, who also serves as an awkward love interest. But Gray isn't the one saving the world. These are fine characters, but they don't fit a shoot-'em-up to save the world with narrow escapes, fast chases, big fight scenes, monsters, and plenty of explosions. Oscar-winning composer's Elliot Goldenthal's score does well enough with the soft moments of the story, but it doesn't help to generate any tension or thrills during the action scenes. I give Final Fantasy The Spirits Within 3 stars. It's an historic achievement in technical animation, but it seems a phantom ripped out its spirit. It never comes alive with excitement.
The crater is a mile across and 500 feet down. It's on private property, and they have strict rules against falling into it, which is why I'm not walking off in front of the camera.